Ontario voters will go to the polls in just 5 days, and to date, the summer election of 1987 has, for the most part, been quite uneventful. There are an assortment of issues being debated in this campaign: free trade, no-fault auto insurance, and bilingualism, to name a few, but no truly contentious issues that will make this provincial election a memorable one. As far as the political characters are concerned, that is the men and women who are vying to win a seat at Queen's Park, well, that's a different story. There is one candidate running as an independent who has emerged as a unique and unconventional sort of politician. His name is Scott Bentley, but he goes by the pseudonym of Steve Stunning. And as formidable as it may sound, Mr. Stunning has taken on the challenge of running in the riding of London Centre, which happens to be the seat currently held by Ontario's Premier David Peterson. Stunning is 30 years of age, he's originally from Tillsonburg, and he is a member of a local rock group. Joining us now from our bureau headquarters in London is Scott Bentley, alias Steve Stunning. First of all, should I refer to you as Mr. Bentley or as Mr. Stunning?
I guess now I'm back to being Mr. Stunning.
Are you serious in your bid for the candidacy in London Centre, or is your campaign much in the same vein as the Rhinoceros Party, and that you're trying to satirize the Canadian political system?
No, I'm not trying to satirize it. I'm very serious for what I've started out to do. I'm very serious for running now. Just although it's just myself and another guy in my campaign, the two of us. Other than that, I've set aside certain issues I want to talk about and address, and so it's very serious.
Well, why do you want to be an MPP?
Because right now I don't have a job. No, I don't know. I just thought everybody talks about doing something, trying to change the system, you know. I found out a long time ago you can't beat the system from the outside, you got to get on the inside. So I decided if I could do it, I could, maybe something I'd like to try.
Well, let's hear about some of the things that you happen to stand for.
Some of the things that I stand for in my platform, I was trying to lobby for better rates, royalty rates for musicians on their records, as Canada has the lowest rate. I know legislation's been introduced, but nothing's ever happened about it. Being involved in the music scene and in booking clubs and such, I like to see Ontario brought into the 20th century as far as liquor laws and 60-40 food ratios, bar hours, things to that effect. Just that whole area of alcohol and things like that. I don't want to make my campaign sound like it's just rock and roll and getting drunk and stuff. That's not it. I'm just trying to address issues that involve my downtown riding, like the people that I know.
Some of the issues that have been raised in this campaign include free trade and bilingualism, and yet you haven't addressed any of these issues. Do you feel this is going to deter your campaign at all?
Well, yeah, I'm concerned about it. Like, with two guys working on a campaign, it's hard to have tons of information or access to it. I mean, I'll address anything that I can. But I personally, when I'm talking to the people that I'm dealing with, the people that my target audience, if you want to call it that, don't ask me questions about that. If they did, I would, I'd address it best to my ability and knowledge. But they're not. Most people living downtown, like young kids or the older people that I'm going for, don't even talk to me about stuff like that.
Mr. Stunning, you're on the street doing most of your politicking. Are people stopping to listen to you? What kind of a person would vote for Steve Stunning?
Person that would vote for me is probably someone that hasn't voted before or hasn't voted for a long time. A lot of people that I talk to are either, in their 20s, and I wouldn't say so many kids, but then a lot of pensioners that I know and stuff like that, not that they don't care, it's just that they've never felt a reason to vote before. And for some reason, when they find out that I'm running by either reading the paper or seeing the news or whatever, they go, hey, Scott, Steve, whatever, I haven't voted for 20 years, I'm going to vote for you this time, maybe we can shake up the status quo,
Well, you seem like a very colorful person. How are people reacting to you?
I think a lot of people in London are used to me by now. I mean, I lived here for 10 years. When it comes to, see, the other thing I was saying, like older people, that I talk to, when they see me, they don't even, I don't even think half of them notice anymore, or notice in the first place. I mean, they've seen it all and done it all. That's why I find it much easier to relate to them. And then, young kids, some of them, it's cool to do what I do, still do it without pressure from, you know, society or whatever.
Have you had any strange reactions from anybody?
Strange? No more than normal. I mean, I still get people yelling at me and stuff like that, but I'm used to that from everyday life because, you know, like I said, I haven't changed the way I look just because I'm running, because then that would, people that know me would say that I'm changing my personality, my sincerity, just because all of a sudden now I'm running for office. So I just decided I'd look exactly the same as I do every day.
By some remote chance, if you were to win the provincial seat in that riding, how do you think you'd be received at Queen's Park?
That's a good question. I always wondered that. I think I'd have to get up at least an hour and a half earlier every day just to get through the metal detectors so I could get to work. But I don't know. I don't know how they'd take it. I don't know. Maybe they'd make an amendment. I'm not sure.
Well, you sound like a fairly sensible person, and you must realize your chances of unseating David Peterson are very slim. He's not only the incumbent, but he happens to be the premier of the province.
Yes.
So, in a greater sense, are you trying to make a statement of sorts?
Yeah, in the long run, I guess it'll look like a statement. I mean, if I could, well, I guess, what is it? There's 6 parties or 6 candidates in this riding, including myself. You know, 3 regulars, the Family Coalition, Freedom Party, and myself as an independent. If I can whack the top 4 off and come in second, which is a good idea, I think that a lot of people would take notice and say, you know, it can't, you know, it can be done. Maybe if I hadn't been running in, say, the Premier's riding, I might have had I might have won a seat.
I understand recently in Italy an exotic dancer was elected to their legislature.
Yeah, I remember. I saw that in the paper. She kept doing strip shows and everything to win her, win her riding.
Any theatrics like that? Any theatrics like that in store for you?
No, I don't think I'll be doing anything like that. I don't really even involve like my band in it at all. I mean, that's one thing that I do, and what I'm doing now doesn't involve them at all. I mean, if they want to help me, that's fine, but I don't involve them as, say, like, you got to play a benefit for me, or you guys got to do this. I mean, that's 2 different things. I mean, some people say, okay, your band is going to receive, you know, obviously more exposure because you're the lead singer for it, but that's the same as telling a doctor that runs, you know, your practice is going to pick up, or you're a lawyer, your practice is going to get more people because you're more visible now.
One last question. How will your name appear on the ballot?
On the ballot, after much work with the election officer, it'll appear as Stunning Bentley. I have to use part of my legal name, and I can use part of my stage name.
Well, thanks very much for speaking to us today.
Thank you very much.
We'll take a look at your viewer mail when we return on Province-Wide.